Welcome to Living Chassidus. Together, let's live the Chassidus we learn.
Should we begin? Okay, good evening. Today's topic is the halachos of yichud, specifically that relates to the workplace. I actually have here a book, thin booklet that's called Yetzei Odom Lefa'oloi, a guide to modest conduct for today's workplace by Rabbi Shmuel Nyman. It's called 9 to 5. This is the book. And actually, in one of the letters from one of those who will give a haskama to the book, he writes, this is from Rabbi Abram Chaim Fewer. So he says about this book, this manual should be required reading for all Torah Jews in the workforce, men and women, young and old, employers and employees. Everyone needs much chizuk in this area. So I'm going to give over some points, try to make it as clear as possible. It is prohibited for a man and a woman to be alone together in a closed room. That is called yichud. And this is even if no conversation takes place between them, it's still considered yichud. So therefore, a closed office constitutes yichud. You have a man and a woman working in the office, even if each one has their own corner and their own desk, their own computer, they're all doing their own things. But if they're both in the closed room, this is a problem of yichud. Yichud applies for any Jewish woman from bas mitzvah, young or old, single or married. In the laws of yichud, there is a scenario of yichud that's asur min haTorah, and there's a scenario of yichud that's only asur midrabanan. And throughout this discussion, we'll come across a few things that are midrabanan. So both are prohibited. It's just that some scenarios of yichud is asur min haTorah and some is asur midrabanan. And there could be a difference in certain cases when we say that if it's only midrabanan, you can rely on certain leniencies, as will be explained. In general, the issue of yichud, as I said, applies to a man and woman who are alone in a closed room. There are a few exceptions of relatives where yichud does not apply. That is, a woman may work together with her father or grandfather, even when they're alone in a closed room. A grandmother or mother may work with her son or grandson, even when they're in a closed room. So children and their parents and the grandparents, there's no issur of yichud. What about a sister, a brother and sister? Could a brother and sister work together in a closed room? So, in general, what it says in Shulchan Aruch about a brother and sister is that there's no issur yichud. A brother and sister are allowed to be together in a closed room. However, it should not be permanent arrangement. That means a brother and sister should not move into an apartment and live together in this apartment. A permanent arrangement of yichud between a brother and sister is not supposed to be done. It's temporary, it's okay. So the question is, if they work every day in an office together, a few hours in the day, is that okay or not? Is that considered already a little permanent because they're working there every day? Well, we say no, but they're not living together. They're just working there a few hours in the day. So there's two opinions about this. So some say that it's okay for a brother and sister to work together in a closed room, but some say it's better not to. So if one could find a way that they shouldn't have to work together in a closed room, it's better. But if it's a situation where there's no other option, it could be permitted. Other than this, other relatives, yichud does apply. So a woman is not allowed to be alone with her father-in-law in a closed room. A woman is not allowed to be with her son-in-law in a closed room. Also, one is not allowed to be with uncles in a closed room or with first cousins, even though you're related and your cousins. But nevertheless, the Isur Yichud applies. The Isur Yichud min HaTorah is only when there's one man and one woman in the closed room. That's the Isur Yichud min HaTorah. What about if there is two men and one woman? So in the Gemara, it's explained that when there's two men and one woman, this is not considered yichud. It's okay. However, the Gemara says this is only when the men are ksherim, they are righteous men. But if the men are considered prutzim, that means they don't behave nicely, then it's not allowed. Two men that are prutzim are not allowed to have yichud with a woman, not allowed to be in a closed room with a woman. That's what the Gemara says. If two men are righteous men, ksherim, it's okay, but if they're prutzim, it's not okay. So in Shulchan Aruch, there's two opinions. The Mechaber and the Ramah. The Mechaber and the Rambam, they paskin that since we don't know who's considered a righteous person and who's not, how are you going to know? It's very hard to know who's righteous and who's not, what people do in private. We don't know exactly. So therefore, it's never allowed. Midrabanon. That's the Mechaber's opinion in Shulchan Aruch, and the Sfardim, they accept this. In general, we know that in Shulchan Aruch there's the Mechaber, that's written by Rabbi Yosef Karu, and the Ramah, which is written by Rabbi Moshe Isserlush. And it's in general, the Sfardim, they follow the Mechaber's opinion, and the Ashkenazim follow the Ramah's opinion. So this is a case where there's a machlokes between the Mechaber and the Ramah and Shulchan Aruch. The Mechaber says that two men and one woman in the closed room is osur midrabanan, and the Ramah says that no, if the people are known to be righteous people, then it's okay. But if you know that they are considered prutzim, then it's not okay. What is the translation of porutz? The Shevet Halevi, that's a sefer that's well respected, and Rabbi Wozner, who lived in Bnei Brak, was a big posek. He says that the translation of the word porutz means it could be a person who's frum and keeps the mitzvahs in general. But porutz means that he is a person who's exposed to immodesty. He intentionally looks and looks at things that are immodest, like on television, movies, or the internet, magazines, and the like. So a person who's involved in such activities is labeled as a porutz. Since he intentionally looks and gazes at things that are immodest, we can't trust these people when it comes to yichud, even if it's two men with one woman. That's what the halacha is. Rama says the halacha is. What about if one of the two men is suspected of being a porutz, but the other one is fine from Jew? Then there's a difference of opinion if it's permitted when there's two men and one woman, when one of them is a porutz. So again, according to the Ramah, the Ashkenazim, they rule that two men with one woman, when the men are known to be fine people, then from fine people, then it's permitted. So if you have an office where you have two men and one woman working, it would be okay. However, they must be careful that there should in fact always be two men present. If there's a day that one of them does not come for some reason, then the other man may not remain alone in the office with the woman. Likewise, if one of the men must leave the office even for a short while, for example, to make a deposit in the bank or visit a client, the other man may not remain alone with the woman, even though it's temporary. So this is the halacha for the Ashkenazim. However, when it comes to this concept, there are Rishonim who have an opinion that this permission, this concept that it's permitted to have two men and one woman in the closed room is not to be relied on when it's a permanent arrangement. So again, the main opinion in Shulchan Aruch is that there's no difference if it's a permanent arrangement or a temporary arrangement. If it's two fine, from men and a woman, it's okay to be in a closed room. But there are some Rishonim who say that no, if it's a permanent arrangement, it should not be relied on. It can be only relied on temporary when visiting a place. If a man is going to visit an office where there's a woman, he can come with another man and it'll be okay to be there for a visit. But for permanent arrangement, it should not be relied on. However, it's only an Issur D'Rabbanan, two men with one woman, even if it's not to be relied on, it's only Issur D'Rabbanan. And therefore, it's possible that in certain situations it would be okay, as will be explained later. What about one man and two women in an office? If you have one man working there and two women in a closed room. So this is an Issur D'Rabbanan. One man and two women is also an Issur D'Rabbanan of yichud. Nobody says that it's permitted. It's Asur Midrabbanan. What about one man and three women? Here again, the machloikis, the mechaber and the Ramah. What about one man and three women? The mechaber says that one man and three women is forbidden. Since it's only one man, as many women as there'll be there, it's a problem. The Ramah says that no, you have three women, it's okay. So here too, the Sephardim, they say that one man with many women is Asur Midrabbanan, it's Issur D'Rabbanan. Again, because Minat Torah, only one man and one woman is Asur Minat Torah. But if you have many women and one man, so according to the Sephardim, they pass like the Mechaber that it's Asur Midrabbanan. The Ramah paskins that a man can be alone with three women, but here it clearly says that it's only by a temporary arrangement, not by a permanent arrangement. One man and three women in a closed room is only okay in a temporary arrangement for a visit, but not for a permanent arrangement.
This is talking about Even if the door's open.
No, this is when the door is closed. This is when the door is
Closed
closed.
and locked, or just closed?
Closed, locked, doesn't matter.
No, real, no, really.
The real yichud now. Yeah,
Okay.
real yichud.
Move on to others.
Yeah. Yeah.
If there's like windows or doors.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that soon. Okay. What is permitted? For sure, 3 men and 3 women or more. 3 men and 3 women, or 4 men and 4, anything more than that, 3 and 3 is permitted according to everyone, even in a permanent arrangement. It's not considered yichud. So if you have 3 men and 3 women in a closed, locked room in an office, desks and everything, it's perfectly fine. It's not a problem.
Even if some required.
What?
Even if someone considering it part.
Oh, so that here comes the question. What about if they are products? So there's a machlokes about this. Machlokes about this between poskim, and if it's a situation when the people are products, then one should consult a Rav in each individual situation. However, it's important to know that if the 3 men and women are not just poruts, they're not frum, or they're goyim, then as many of them that are there, it's still yichud for a Jewish frum woman to be excluded with them in one room. If they are all not frum or goyim, then it doesn't help that there's many women. Since there's men, it's a problem. Okay. The next topic is, what about if they're in separate rooms? It's in one building, one apartment, let's say, a few rooms, a few offices, in separate rooms. The man is in one office, and the woman's in a different office. What's the situation then? So if the rooms are not locked, they're open, and anyone can walk into the other's room, then it's also a problem of yichud. They're in the apartment and there's separate rooms, but not unlocked, then it's a problem of yichud. However, if the woman locks her room and the man cannot enter, the main opinion is that it's okay. If the woman locks her room and the man can't enter, even if the woman can go into the man's room, but if the man can't come into the woman's room, her room is locked. The main opinion is that it's okay. What?
That finds herself at home from male and man, and she just locks herself in the room and solves the situation. If you're talking about the office,
Would that apply to all, to an apartment also?
like,
As a regular,
well, not a short little reading, was the other guests. And woman's on and a guest is in their house, and he's the only other person around. They'll go to our room and lock the door.
I think so, but I would like to double check that. Okay. Okay, the question is, what if the man's room is locked and the woman's room is not locked? That only works by a case with the Issur Yichud is only midrabanan.
If she locks her room, let's say she locks her office and then she's ready to leave, she could leave, like the building. Just to wait till he leaves and then she could leave.
Or he should open the door. He should open the outside door before she leaves her room.
Like, let's say in a school building, you're working late in the office and the janitor's around or whatever. So you close your own door, then you're ready to go. Can you just?
Why would it be a problem?
I don't know, the few minutes that you're in the building. Just walking out.
Walking out, hallway.
There's no one else in the building, you're saying? There's mamish no one else in the building? But you don't know where he is. You don't know if he's where he is and if he's here.
Right.
Not sure.
There's no one. Could be.
Is this about like any place of in the public area? Like a library or like? That's totally.
No, public mean the public area means that anybody could walk in. If anybody could walk in, that there's no yichud. If the place where anybody can walk in, it's not easy yichud. But if the school building is locked and nobody can walk in,
There's people who have the key, there's plenty of people who can.
and
Like
people
Right, like stuff.
and the people might sometimes come. Okay, yeah, could be. It might sometimes come. Okay, let's talk about the concept of an open door. So if the door or window blinds are open in the room and face the street so that anyone passing by can see into the office, or if there's a camera enabling someone in a different room to view what is transpiring, then this is not considered a closed room and there's no Isser Yichud. However, if there's a part of the room that's not visible from the street through the open door, window, or camera, then the woman may not enter the section of the room where she cannot be seen even momentarily. So she has to make sure to be in the place where people looking in could see her. This is when there's only one woman. This is only when there's one woman. If there's,
You're saying that when she,
Yeah.
the obligation on her to break the yichud situation or the obligation on the man?
both equally.
Okay.
Both equally. Some giving a share to ladies.
Right.
Talking about what the lady has to do. They're both equal. So this is when there's only one man and one woman in the room. Then we say that she cannot be in a part of the room that the people cannot see when they look in. But if there are two women present, then it is permissible for the woman to be in part of the room that's not visible from the street as long as the man remains in view. So when there's only one man and one woman, it doesn't help that the man remains in view. The woman also has to be able to be seen at all times. But if there is two ladies in the room, then it's enough that the man can be seen, even if the ladies go to the corner where they cannot be seen from their street. Again, since this is Isur D'Rabbanan Yichud, so it's more lenient. What's the reason for all these leniencies? That cannot be discussed. There's not enough time. That's the halach. Yes.
If you prefer.
Depends where. In New York City, it's not yichud if the windows are see-through. New York City is not yichud because there's always other cars and people. If it's a situation where the door is closed but not locked, and it is standard for people to enter and exit the room without knocking or waiting for acknowledgement, then yichud is permitted in such a place. Even though the door is closed, but if people have authority to walk in, there's a lot of people in the building and people could just walk in, then there's no Isser Yichud. What if it's not common for anyone to enter the room unannounced, yet it is possible for one to do so because the door is unlocked? It's possible for someone to come in. Could be someone will try his luck and open the door and walk in. Then it depends if it's yichud that's also min haTorah or midrabanan. If it's one man and one woman, it's forbidden. If it's one man and two women, then it's allowed if the door is closed but not locked. The door is closed but not locked, and it's possible that people will walk in. It's good enough to rely on when there's one man and two women in the room. So, I mean, so then it's only midrabanan, right? So therefore, it's okay in this case. So again, a door that's closed and unlocked is okay for the rabbanon, but not for the deraisa. So when it's one man and one woman, closed is not enough. The door has to be actually open. If you leave the door open a little bit, then that helps. That works. If it's a place where there's other people who walk in the halls, and if they leave the door open a little bit, everyone who walks by notices the door is open, then it helps, because then the person might walk in. There's more chance that he walk in if he sees the door open, not just unlocked. He sees the door is open, so that takes away the isur yichud. Another concept is that if the door is locked, but there's a person who has the key and is able to enter whenever he wishes, so then if the person who has the key actually enters frequently, then yichud is permitted. But if he doesn't actually enter frequently, but he's able to enter, and sometimes he comes, then again, it depends if it's midrabanan or midrabon. If it's midrabanan, you can't rely on that. If it's midrabanan, if there's two ladies, two women, then it's okay to rely on that if there's someone who has a key who sometimes comes and is able to come. There's only one exception to all of the above, and that is if there's a closed circuit camera in the room or some other way which the people in the room will know in advance if someone is about to enter, then some place can say that all these atadim don't apply. Because then, even though someone might come, but they can see in advance. So some place can say it doesn't apply if you have this.
This kind of gives it a we can apply, even in like, in a temporary situation.
Yeah.
Like, let's say two people, one or two people stayed after work, they're usually a bunch of people, now it just happens to be two people.
Right, that's a problem. It's a problem, right? It's a problem. You have to make sure that at all times there should be no yichud, right? If someone says overtime,
Someone goes into a room and just happens to, they both have business now. No. it's not
so
regular.
leave the door open. So make sure to leave the door open, right?
No, she unlock it, it's not good enough.
No. If you have just one person, one man and one woman in the room, unlocked is not good enough. If nobody else is if nobody else if the place where anyone else can come in, then it's good enough. Yeah. If anyone else can come in, then it's fine. If it's common that other people walk in without asking, without knocking, then it's fine. Or even if they knock, but they're not going to walk in, wait to be welcomed, then it's fine at all times, at all situations. Yes. Look, back to other situations. If you have a place that has two rooms, and in one room there are women who are working, in the other room the men are working, it's two separate rooms. In one room the men are working, you have three men in one room, and three women in the other room. But they don't share rooms at all. The women work in their room, the men work in their room, and they have no reason to go from one room to the other. If that's the case, then if the door is closed, it's an issue. The door between them is closed, it's an issue because there's still a concern that if the issue is if one person goes into the other room, it's going to be considered yichud. So let's say he decides he has to go speak to a lady in the other room about something. So when they go into the other room and close the door, it's going to be yichud. Even though there's three men here, but since the men don't usually go into that room, so then it's going to be yichud. So you have to make sure to leave the door open, not to close the door. Leave the door open. You want to go into the other room to speak to someone, to leave the door open. Also, when it says here, if one relies on the heter of a locked door for either the man or the woman, one must be careful not to enter the building until the other one is in the locked room. So it says here very clearly, because the isur of yichud applies even for the few moments that it takes one to enter the office and lock oneself in the room. So that's when you know that the man is coming into the building and the woman's coming to the building. So whoever goes in first, the other one should wait until they're in their place and the door is locked. In the cases where it helps to lock the door, but it has to be done in a way that not even for a few minutes somebody's not there. But again, if the situation is that the room there's women in one room and men in the other room, but they do share rooms for certain things, like if there is a copy machine that they all use, or it's very common that they go in to discuss things in the business, then it's okay and there's no concern. Then there's another situation. If you have two rooms of the office, which each have their own door leading to the outside. You have an office, you have two rooms, one on that side and one on this side, and each one has their own door leading to the outside. And one does not have to pass through the other room in order to exit the building. Then it's permitted for a man and a woman to work in separate rooms. One man in one room, one man and the woman in the other room. And the reason for that is because in this case, it's considered like two separate apartments. Since they have their own entrance to come in from outside and they have everything they need there, and there's no need to pass through one another's room. So therefore, it's like two separate apartments. So even if the door is unlocked, it doesn't matter. It's like in a building, and you have two apartments. Even if you live in one apartment and the man lives in another one and both keep your doors unlocked to the hallway, it's not a problem. It's two separate apartments. So here too, if it would be a situation where each room has its own entrance from the street and they don't need anything from the other room, then it's like two separate apartments. So even if the door is not locked between them, it will be okay. But obviously one is not allowed to go into the other one's room. So if they work for the same business, it would be advisable to make a window to be able to pass things through, because one would not be able to enter in the other one's room. So if you want to be able to pass things, make a window to be able to pass things through the window. What?
Is there any sort of different issues with like Zoom calls, one-on-one, or like messaging one-on-one?
No.
Or,
No.
not even messaging, people say.
Yichud, it's
Yeah,
not.
I've heard people say that
It's not the original Isser Yichud.
not physical needs alone, but.
No.
Certain problems.
The question is if it's proper behavior, or it's not Yichud. It's not called Yichud. Some Rabbanim say that unfiltered internet usage should be treated with Isser Yichud. No one should be alone with an unfiltered internet usage. That's what some Rabbanim say. Okay, it might be a good idea, but that's not the original Isser Yichud. See, there's another part of this book that speaks about, besides yichud issues in the workplace, it speaks about proper behavior in the workplace. In other words, since when there's a man and woman who work in the same office for the same business, so there's times that they have to discuss certain things that are important for the work, right? They have to discuss things that are important for the business and for the work. So that's understood and that's fine. But does that mean that they become friends and they can discuss anything that you discuss with a friend? So the answer is that doesn't justify such conversation, because they're not cousins, they're not relatives, they're, a regular man and woman, and a regular man and a regular woman are not supposed to have conversation just for the sake of conversation. So there's a whole section here about proper care of what kind of conversation goes on in the office between the men and the women. So they should have in mind that this doesn't mean we become friends. Since we work in the same business, it's not considered friends. And the Shulchan Aruch says that Ein shoyelin b'shloim isha klal. It's not proper to send regards to a woman. A man should send regards to a woman. It's not a proper thing. If he's not related to her, there's no such thing as sending regards to a woman. So if that's the case, not to send regards to a woman, then it includes any type of conversation of speaking to the woman. In other words, of course, there has to be you have to treat each other like a normal person. You could say hey, good morning, good evening, have a good day, hello. If she's not feeling well, you could say, I hope you have a refuah shlema. Say mazel tov if she gets a mazel tov. I'm just saying what a man could say to the lady. But more than that, any type of conversation should not really take place. Like, where are you going for the summer? We're going to be for Shabbos. Which restaurant do you like to go to? Well, any such conversation is not really appropriate.
You said the cousins are fine talking together.
It depends in what situation and what type of atmosphere. If you're a relative of the person and you feel you want to help the person and as a relative, then it can be different. But in this case,
Yichud is the same with relatives.
what?
Yichud is the same thing.
Yeah, yichud is the same with relatives, and any type of touching of affection is the same with relatives. Not allowed. Even brothers and sisters that are older are not supposed to hug each other.
Public or in general?
Even in general, older brothers and sisters above bar mitzvah are not supposed to hug each other. Okay, whatever. It doesn't say that it's an official prohibition, but the Rambam says that it's a foolish thing to do and it should not be done. That's how the Rambam puts it. Okay, listen. It's possible that officially that's what it says in Shulchan Aruch, that it's not the proper thing for older brothers and sisters to hug each other. That's what it says in Shulchan Aruch. So you want to know if there's any exceptions? Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, but basically, if you so I said already that it's permitted as long as it's not a permanent arrangement. It means they're allowed to live in their parents' house, but they shouldn't move into their own apartment. And we say for the next couple of weeks we're going to live here because we don't have a place yet, so we're going to live together in an apartment. It's not allowed. No, it's not allowed. If it's more than 30 days, it shouldn't be done.
You're in a room with them.
No. It's not a problem to spend time with them, to go to a restaurant with them, to sit in a room with them, whatever you want. But to live together b'kvius more than 30 days in a place is not should not be done. What else does he say here? In this book, it says that even if you want to complement each other, a man and woman that work in an office, you want to complement each other for the good work, you shouldn't talk about the person, you should talk about the job. That's what he puts it in this book. Don't say, you did such a wonderful job. You could say, that was really a good job. He gives an example with this book, saying, what?
What's the term?
It is called 9 to 5. The book is called 9 to 5. 9 to 5. It came out, how many years ago? Let me see. Came out in 2001. 2001, that's when this book came out. it's good to read and see everything it says here, and at least try to live up to whatever you could.
The standard book, like it's.
I don't know if it's very high standard. I don't know. So yichud is an outright issur. Yichud is an outright issur, and you have to know when it's allowed and when it's not. And it's very common that could be yichud going on in offices when people don't realize it, at least temporarily. So that's why it's important to know that it's something you have to look out for. If you're going to have a position, you're going to be working in an office where there are also men. So you have to be aware to look out that there could be sometimes a situation of yichud, and to know when and when not. If you're not sure, this book could help you review and find out, or you can ask someone again. But basically, if there's 3 men and 3 women, it's okay. If the door is open, it's okay. If people walk in, it's okay. If people have the key and commonly walk in, it's also okay. If there's open windows and people could see in, it's okay, right? So, but what if after hours everybody's gone and just 1 man and 1 woman is left, and there's nobody walking by in the street anymore, it's dark or whatever? So then it could be an issue. So it's important to know the general points and the possibilities of yichud coming up whenever you are working in a place where there are men and women, and to have it in mind, to make sure not to be doing yichud when it's not allowed. That's right. And some people in general about yichud, as Forum say, that some people think that, what's the reason why you're not allowed to be secluded in a room with a woman? So it shouldn't lead to any misproper behavior. But some people could feel, we're not going to do anything. It's just temporarily, we're going to be careful. Yeah. But that's the wrong attitude, because yichud is an issur. It's not just precaution. It's a precaution not to do something wrong. It itself is not allowed. It itself is forbidden. Torah said it's not allowed. So therefore, it's not it's not about suspecting that you might not behave properly. No, it's not that. The thing itself is not allowed. Yichud itself is not allowed. And that's why it's important to know and see what goes on. So again, one of the places where it's very common is in the workplace. That's why a special emphasis on that, because it's very common in the workplace. Other places, not so common. And as you said, a babysitter is common. The concept of a babysitter comes to a house and watches children. So that depends. If the boy is older than 9 years old and the woman is over bas mitzvah, a woman who's over bas mitzvah is not allowed to babysit a boy who's over 9 years old.
Or if
there's another kid that's over 6, another boy that's over 6, it's okay during the day, and during the night you need 2 more boys that are over 6. If he has a sister that's over 6, it's okay. There's a sister there that's over 6, it's okay.
difference if someone is married or not.
It's a difference, I think, regarding yichud with a goy. Yichud with a goy, a married woman is also min Torah. A woman who's not married is only also with Rabbon. That's where the difference. Regarding the yichud with a goy. But so again, I advise this. I recommend this book. Number 5. It's called Yetzei Odom Lefa'olei by Rabbi Shmuel Neumann. It's in English. It's written very well, and I recommend this book.
What's the deal with first name?
So in this book, it says it's better not to call them by their first name. That's what it says in this book. Yeah.
But that's like what everyone in the office.
Right. So then,
like hundreds of people.
then I think it's okay then, right? I think it's okay. And in this book, it says, but yeah.
Also, like, other way, like for girls, like what else are you supposed to go by if not your first name?
Right. If they miss, you could say miss. Yeah, sure.
Like,
Yeah.
really, no.
Yeah. In certain communities, they do that. It depends on what is common in the place that you grow up and you are in the environment, right?
You did. You're the right thing. So that's what I'm wondering, like, is it like actually usher or it's just?
No, it's not. It's not.
Just recommended
It's a
idea.
recommended idea based on the source. It has a source.
The society norms have changed.
Right.
In the past 20 years, so.
These kind of things go a little bit by the society. Correct. The Levush is a famous sefer. The Gemara says. Gemara says that interesting Gemara he brings over here. Rabbi Yossi Aglili was going on he was walking, and he met Bruria, the wife of Rabbi Meir, and he said to her, "Be'ezoi derech nelech lelud." In which path do we take to go to Lud? Which road should we take to go to Lud? He said these words, "Be'ezoi derech nelech lelud." So Bruria responded to him. Didn't the Chachamim say you shouldn't speak a lot with a woman? What did he say already? So she said, you should have said, you never say you could have said. So in other words, she's making an issue of 2-3 extra words. So what do we see? That even when it's necessary to speak to a woman, you have to make it as brief as possible. That's what we see from the Gemara. So there's a sefer Levush. Levush is Rabbi Mordechai Yaffe. He wrote the Levush before the Alter Rebbe. He wrote Levush is like a Shulchan Aruch, like the Alter Rebbe. He wrote a Shulchan Aruch similar to the Alter Rebbe. The Alter Rebbe brings up many things from the Levush. So the Levush says that now we're not careful with this. If you have an important issue to discuss with a woman, we're not careful to minimize in the words. We don't do this. Why? So the Levush says, "Efsher mishum denoshim murgolois beinenu achshav harbe beinu ha'anoshim." Today, the situation became different. Back then, the men wouldn't see women bichlal. They would be very private. The men and the woman would be so separate, and so the men wouldn't see women bichlal. So therefore, anytime you have to have some connection, some conversation with a woman, keep it as brief as you could, because if not, it's considered like you are trying to get a relationship with this woman, whatever. But today, this was back then. The women were not commonly seen bichlal amongst the men. But today, since noshim murgolois beinenu achshav harbe bein ha'anoshim, so therefore, it doesn't have that effect. Speaking to a woman today is nothing. Back then, if someone would speak to a woman, it would be, "Oh, I spoke to a woman today. We never see women." So. But today, everybody sees women all the time and speak to them. So it's not. We don't say this anymore. That you have to be minimizing in the words. Whenever there's an important thing to speak to a woman, it's okay to speak, but keep it to important conversation, not to plain conversation. Women will speak to women and men will speak to men. If it's an important thing you have to discuss with this woman, then it's okay. It's allowed. Then it's fine. Yeah. So the Levush says this, that things have changed. The way people, society of the people has changed. This is what I'm trying to say. The Levush already says this, that the society changed. He says this regarding that. So it is true that certain things goes by society. Certain things. We can't apply that to everything, and we can't apply that to most things, but certain things we goes by what goes on in the society. It's true. Yeah. Okay. This is sure.
So like in the workplace, it's not toxic men, like DP or whatever, they're
their lives and stuff.
Right.
Then, if like when you go on a date with a guy, you are supposed to do that,
Yes.
so like. What's the difference?
Because that's necessary. That's why it's necessary. Because it's a mitzvah to get married. That's the only way you can do it.
Right.
So it's necessary. It's a preparation for the mitzvah.
Yeah, but sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, but this is the only way it can be done. That's why. In order to get married to someone, you have to date them first. So therefore, it's allowed.
Makes sense.
It's considered necessary. That's the point. It's considered necessary.
So.
Right.
It's relevant, like the same way you said that, the business thing, but it's like. Necessary conversation.
Right.
Yeah, but in the date, you don't just discuss business, you discuss all kinds of things. The reason is it's necessary. That's why. It's not for nothing, it's not for no reason. It's not just for the sake of having conversation. If you're looking to have conversation, a woman should have with a woman and a man with a man. But dating is necessary. It's the only way you can know if you can marry them or not. Why it's okay. That's why it is okay. Okay, I was told that next week I'm giving a shir on the concept of the topic of kibbud over aim. I was told.
Another question that's off.
Yes.
There's this big sucker on money before taxes or after taxes. And like, you get money back from taxes, or is this on that? Yeah.
So you give stock on the there's two. There's the gross income and what's the other one? The net, yeah, net. So you give tax tzedakah from the net pay, not the gross. That means how much you actually get. Then when you get tax return, you give ma'aser from that. You get a check from the government, tax return, ma'aser from that.
Whatever, every time I get a paycheck,
Yeah.
it's not mine, it's like, getting paid now.
Yeah,
I don't do, like, I don't.
you don't have to give ma'aser from it. Whatever gets taken out, you don't have to give ma'aser from it.
Really? Like, taken out into like, like. Right, give stuff out and not. Money. Or like, I don't have access to it, let's say now. Like,
No, I think so. Yeah, whatever is yours, whatever is your money, you're supposed to give ma'aser from. I think so.
but if tax is taken out of it, you don't have the benefits.
This is not your money. This money is not going to you. It's going to the government.
But the money that you get, that tax.
If you're going to get tax return after taxes are done, then you'll give ma'aser from that money that you got back.
Let me just remember like 100 and take off like 50, that 50 that you get, you don't have to take myself.
If your salary is 100, but 50 gets taken off for other things that doesn't come to you, then
But it is going to you, but like in the future, like, you know, like the savings account is. You sound like you know what's going on.
I don't know. I don't know. I think you do have to give. I think you do have to. What are you gonna say? You gonna give later?
Then I'm better than.
What do you want to say that you can give the ma'aser on that later when you'll take out the money? Then you'll give the ma'aser from it.
Right, that was the.
What's the proper thing to do? To give ma'aser before you put it in the savings account, or put it in the savings account, and eventually you give ma'aser from the whole total.
Right.
I'm not sure. I could look into this if you want.
Another question.
Yeah.
Okay, if someone's in the first year of the list, are they allowed to go to a family simcha? Or?
Family simcha. Like what?
And I'm just curious, like, let's say bar mitzvah, like.
So generally, they should not go.
It depends.
When there's mute, when there's joyous music playing, they shouldn't be in the room.
So, right, so a person in first year of meals isn't allowed to sing at all, ever. So there's no recording of that.
I think so. Recording, I think so. If you want to know more details, I could take your number and get back to you.
Okay.
Or you can call me.
Yeah.
My name is Rabbi Shmuel Bluming. So.
You said always.
I'm an assistant Rav in this community. I'm an assistant Rav, not an official Rav, an assistant Rav. That means the Rabbonim asked me many years ago to assist them in answering halachic questions. So the way I work is many times when people ask me a question, I say I'm going to look into it and I'll get back to you. That's what I do. So, you can call me or whatever you want.
Well, you said anytime take a taxi. Maybe if you want to that, you could. Even if it's not New York City. A taxi.
Yeah, if it's in a place where there's no other cars.
No, there's other cars on the streets.